Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. We are proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded and they are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. I'm your host for today's activities and proud to present to you Peggy Spear with the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. Peggy tells us that she is going to show us art about fish today. And since you've been to the coast, Peggy, this ought to be really interesting. Take it
No.
away.
Well, I feel like I've gotten into this habit of I commit to a topic and then I might have wanted to research before I committed to the topic.
I was just wondering if you were bringing a fish back with you.
Yeah, I brought some live fish with me from the museum, from the beach. So today we're going to look at fish. And when I was going through our collection, we have quite a number of fish depicted in art. Some of them are just the beauty of fish. Some of them are the art of catching fish. Some of them are fish in nature. So there's a wide variety of how fish have been depicted in our collection. The few that I had selected, there's almost nothing written about the particular artworks. So that gives us a little more room for interpretation because there isn't much written by the artists or art historians about the intention or depiction of what we see. So this is our first image. It's a work on paper, transparent and opaque watercolor, ink, and graphite. And it's called Dance of the Fish. So what jumps out at you first when you see this?
To me, it looks like an evolutionary scheme. It looks like the one fish is starting to grow legs and getting ready to come out and walk on the land.
This fish down here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, kind of the different the fish changing from fish to person. What did other people see?
Well, it looks like it's mostly a group of smaller fish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything that looks like a larger fish in the mix. It looks like a lot of bubbles, maybe.
Bubbles. Yeah, good point out. Mm-hmm.
And circles on the surface of the water, I guess.
Okay, so you're seeing this. That's an interesting point. Your perspective is we're looking from the top of the water down into the water. Is that how you're seeing it? How do other people see it? Do people see it that way?
The first thing I saw was the swirls.
The swirls.
Yeah, they're dominant. And then the colors.
And the colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are these colors happy colors, depressing colors, busy colors, stagnant colors?
I say that they're feel good colors.
Feel good?
Yeah, they're happy colors, sand and sun.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great way to say that. Yes, sand and sun. It's very full of movement and life. Mm-hmm. Even though there's a good amount of black in it, which is that ink, it still feels very light and happy.
Mm-hmm.
But to the point perspective, so Don is seeing it from, he's looking down into the water. When I first looked at this artwork, I saw it as if I was underwater and looking straight at the scene of fish in front of me.
Okay.
And the reason I think that is because of the way that this seashell down at the bottom
Yes.
is depicted, almost as if I'm looking straight at it versus looking at it from above. Who knows if I'm right or wrong, because there seems to be a lot of different points of views kind of compiled into one.
So using that, would the swirls, the white swirls and the dark swirls be like where the fishes swam and disturbed the water?
I think you're right. I think that's exactly what the artist was trying to capture, the current of the water and the motion of the fish.
Okay.
And this particular artist created a lot of a lot of landscapes and seascapes. And just like many of the artists we've talked about in the past, he summered in Maine. So, Maine constantly seems to be a source of inspiration for artists. And so this, there's no location assigned to where he was drawing from, but he did spend every summer in Maine, and he was also really drawn to Florida, Mexico, and Spain, which are all countries with a lot of sea border.
The fish on the bottom right-hand side looks more like a creature and not a fish.
Yes.
He does,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, more like an
Kind-
eel, an
Kind
eel
of
or
Dr.
something.
Dr. Seuss
Yeah.
fish to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then this here, to me, looks like a shrimp, but I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
It is. I think it is a shrimp.
You think so too?
Yeah. That's how they look when they're big.
But
They
yeah,
just look like fish bones to me.
fish bones.
Fish bones.
No, those little black spots there. the
I
legs.
know. I'm sorry. I just,
But you see, the one fish down in the corner that's almost coming out of us, has he eaten, or is it a tongue sticking out of the mouth? I know fish don't.
It kind of looks like that, yeah.
Yeah.
tongue.
Or else he's got
It-
something in
and-
his mouth.
To me, this, from how I'm seeing it, it almost looks like he's smiling, and then this is almost like seaweed or some sort of
Mhm.
coral situation.
Yeah.
And this fish here, I think that's one of my favorite fish in this
Yeah.
whole thing. But
Or
this
that.
doesn't quite look like fish, but it looks like maybe some movement.
Yeah.
they could all be within the bed of seaweed. And the white
Yeah.
is the seaweed.
That's true.
Moving around,
Right.
Yeah.
or the kelp or something, moving around as they're
Right.
moving.
And Don pointed out the bubbles.
Mhm.
Ooh, yeah.
And then you can kind of see, again, that perspective of which way are we looking. It almost looks like now we're right at surface level, and you're seeing the crest of some waves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking too. Now that you mentioned it.
Oh. And the
Yeah,
very
there's
top, excuse me,
there's a
go ahead, Yoda.
there's a crab there too.
Oh, where do you see that?
Down there on the sand at the bottom, there's one fish going sort of towards it, but I see the claws. Yeah, where your arrow is.
Right here?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
a crab. Yeah.
Wow, good eye.
Good eye, really. Yeah, this is just a really fun artwork.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much to it, but it's just, and so he's using a bunch of different materials. And so you can see, the ink looks like it's the darker black parts, but then there's also graphite, which you can see that faint gray line.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
might be his pencil. So he might have gone in and penciled things first before he really started drilling down some of the darker details. And then you can see the watercolor is where he's really allowing to create that movement of
Yeah.
water and fish.
Mhm.
And this, the brown is probably ink as well.
Right there.
with the
Yeah.
ink.
This reminds me a little bit of Mickey Mouse with his magic wand in Fantasia.
What a good call out. Yes.
The swirling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Magical.
It feels magical. There feels like a fun kind of whimsicalness to this painting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to leave this happy one. We're going to another happy fish. So this artwork almost has about nothing I can find on it. So it's just one of those things that is very beautiful. Mario Avanti, any guesses where this artist might have originally been born?
France.
Italy.
Well, both of you are right. He was born in Monaco, so he was technically in France to Italian parents. So, you're both right. But he was a really well-known engraver and painter, and was invited to do the lithography workshop at Tamarind in LA. So we've seen so many different artists and so many different artworks have that the short month and a half stint at that print studio in LA. And this was one of his prints that he created when he was there. And so there's not much in terms of why he chose this, or, you can see the letter P in here, why he chose that letter.
Pufferfish.
Oh, it's a
Ooh.
pufferfish?
Could
Good,
be
good.
pufferfish, yeah.
I know a little bit of French, and I don't, maybe somebody else was. Valentine pour tamarind means probably the Valentine fish, because red, I guess.
Is a Valentine fish a real thing?
No.
No.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm not at all an angler. Because I was thinking, like, to me, when I first read it, I was thinking, it didn't enter my mind that it could be a fish type, which it very much could be. It was almost to me like a love note to the studio for,
Ooh.
as a thank you for having me, tamarind.
Mhm.
But I don't know if there's any sort of French or Italian cultural thing where you tie the fish to a thank you. I don't know enough about that tradition, if it even is one. So I couldn't, it's just a funny pairing of the title and the pink, of course, Valentine. But I don't know. Do people like this print, or is it not as appealing to you as the other one?
I like the
I think in
first
a different
one.
way.
Yeah.
In a different way? Why? How so, Myra?
It's just, it makes you think what is it really about,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to the picture telling me a story.
Yeah. And this particular artwork is 11 by 16 inches, and this one is 10 by 15. So they're relatively the same size. Yeah, I feel this is it's very graphic, and you can kind of get the sense that he might have been an etcher. All of these artists that were going to Tamarind were well known for something outside of lithography. And so I feel like you can kind of pick up on his sense of etching because of some of these details that you're seeing, which an etcher's hand is able to add a lot of that detail. I don't know how he did this on a lithography stone, but he was kind of able to translate his etching to another work on paper.
It almost looks like in texture a fall leaf with the light coming through it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because you can see all of the texture of the insides of the leaf.
Yeah.
Veins.
Okay, I got a
veins
translation
and everything
for Valentine pour
Yes,
tamarind.
Don.
Yeah.
It's,
There is no Valentine fish. I looked it up,
yeah,
Okay.
but there's a lot of references to Valentine fishing trips.
yes.
There's tours you can actually make a Valentine's Day where you go out fishing Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Basically, it's Valentine's Day with tamarind, which is actually Mediterranean fruit.
Mm.
So to me, that says it's cooked.
Mm.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is a play on words then, because Tamarind is the name of the studio. Where he
Is the name of what?
The studio.
His studio.
Oh, really? Oh, maybe
That's
it's
an interesting play on words, because he also, in some of the work he did while he was there, did still lives. Hold on, cough.
Maybe he was there during Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have been, because I can't find the dates he was actually there. So we've got a lot of good theories. I'll have to present these to our curators and see what they can tell us.
Well,
Yeah.
to support your theory, since tamarind is capitalized, it probably is the noun of something. So if it's a studio, if it was a fruit, it'd be small letters. It would
Right,
be.
but you know how crazy artists can be. It could have been easily a play on words too, where he meant one thing, we read it as one thing, but he was joking around with himself. So I don't know enough. I cannot find enough on this particular artwork. And other museums in the country have this. I know the MoMA and I believe the Met have this, but not much research has been given to this. So we'll have to keep our speculations out in the world, so then someone can do the research for us.
Yeah, we write a lot of books, don't we? An artwork, yes.
Yeah, you know,
The
You're
fish
right.
has a cute little face.
I know. Almost like a
Hey.
little mouth right here.
Uh-huh.
Looks
So,
like, yeah.
Yes.
Peggy,
Mhm.
when I look up the picture, it's in the Smithsonian,
Yep, they have it too.
and it's not red at all.
Yeah, not all of them look the same. So I think that's called states when they do it in different,
Oh,
when something's changed, while it's the
Okay.
same print more or less, different states have different
Okay.
editions or versions of it. So something might be a proof, or something might be, he removes the eye or adds the eye or something like that. And so the coloring too was something that he might have experimented with at that studio, because there's some that are all black and white. There's one that is, I think, like a rusty red color. There's this pink and black one. So he was definitely experimenting with colors, saturations.
that makes perfect sense when you think it's a lithograph.
Yeah,
You can change things easily, like colors easily
Totally.
like that.
and he was working with printers. It was just as much a workshop for the artists as it was for the printers, because printing these works on paper is a real talent and skill. And so certain artists would want to print with certain printers.
Yeah.
And that this studio allowed for them different experimentations with all of that kind of stuff. All right, so we're going to jump to another work on paper, another lithograph,
Ooh,
titled Fish.
how fun.
Isn't this fun? So what do you see?
See an aquarium.
Mhm.
Marianne?
And it looks like they're all looking for the first time.
Yeah.
What makes you say that, Martha?
From the way these people are dressed, folks didn't get out and travel much.
Mm-hmm.
If these were farm people or people who lived in distant areas, they probably couldn't get to an aquarium.
Yeah.
And even the tall people, the older people, may never have seen one.
Mm-hmm.
The fella on the right with his nose kind of gee whiz pointed into the, yes,
Mm-hmm.
looks like first time. And the tall fella on the left that's how I would stand if I were in awe of something and were afraid I'd reach out and touch it.
Yeah.
But the,
Glasses
but
gonna break.
the guy next to him almost thinks like he's got his hand on the side, like, okay, I've seen it before.
Saying, move along, move along.
Yeah.
Move along. Yeah, I mean, you feel as if you are with this group, but you're towards the back, kind of like how Martha would be observing. You're not looking at the group, you're looking with the group at what has been tagged as goldfish. So I'm not sure what kind of aquarium really devotes that much time to goldfish, but that's what we're looking at. And then, when I first looked at this, it kind of made me laugh, because everybody is just all eyes on the fish. And the fish are looking out at the people like they're at some sort of people aquarium. All of the fish seem to be looking at people. So it was just kind of, this particular artist, we've seen work by her before. She did, if you are able to recall, the lithograph of a very crowded doctor's office with children crying.
Oh,
moms.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
This is that same artist. And so she was really well known and well established, and did a very good job of capturing everyday life, but did it with a little bit of a sense of humor. And so maybe the sense of humor in this is the fish looking at the people the way the people are looking at the fish, or maybe that's just how I'm interpreting it. But this was everyday life. Not everyday life, like Martha said, not everybody gets the chance to go to the aquarium at that time, but it was something that, an event that can happen if you chose to go to the aquarium.
Yeah.
There's nothing too special about it, but there's something very relatable to it. And she lived in New York City, so she was able herself to get to an aquarium with no problem. But this is just a sweet picture, I think.
I can
I do
imagine
too. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Martha. Say it again.
in 1928, there weren't many aquariums.
No, you're right.
The Shed Aquarium in Chicago was open.
Man, and that's still today one of the best aquariums.
Yeah. I've been there.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, so there's just, not much happening, but very relatable. Kids, you could go to an aquarium today and you would see this exact scene, almost 100 years later. There's just again, kind of that magicalness about going to aquariums. And the orange is I feel the artwork would have a very different feel if the fish were depicted in black and white versus her adding in that touch of color with the orange.
Yes.
We got one more. So if you're not watching the fish, you're catching the fish, right?
Yes.
If you're not enjoying them in their tank or in the river, you're enjoying them maybe at home on a plate.
That's right.
Yeah.
So are any of you anglers, fishers?
I
Have
used to
been,
be.
No.
used to be.
Did any of you have, I think these are just so cool, that creel?
Nope.
No,
Nope.
I had a nylon line with a circle on one end and a stake on the other end that went through the mouth and out the gills.
A stringer.
Stringer, that's right.
Cool. And you can see his net.
Yes.
Actually,
then-
he's a fly fisherman because of the reel on the
That's
rod.
Yes,
right.
that's
That's what I
right.
just said.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, I just said it to Don.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then it looks like they're trout.
You're exactly right. It is trout. And what detailing did you notice that alerted you to that fish?
The shape of the fish's head,
Yeah.
basically, and tail.
And the spots on the
Mhm.
top. Yeah, this is it feels very staged. Struce is one of those photographers like Elliot Porter we see over and again. He was the one that was in New York and then moved to LA, and he has done the beautiful Christmas cards with his little child in them, and he's taken pictures of tennis matches and worked with Cecil DeMille on filming, and he kind of did a whole bunch of stuff. But this is something from his archives, which the museum has. This is more something for him than for anybody else.
Okay.
And so knowing that he lived in LA, Silver Lake is a little bit north of the city, kind of near the observatory, closer towards Burbank. And so he was a bit of a fisher himself.
I'm kind of interested in why he kept so many little fish, because some of those
Mhm.
might be barely edible, but some of them look
Yeah.
like could be sardines or something.
Almost
Could it be
not
bait?
legal.
Yeah,
almost.
and it makes you wonder what kind of hunting and fishing restrictions were like.
Well, probably 1930, there's probably not any.
That's probably true. Yeah.
And it's not bait.
No.
No, I don't think it's bait.
It's-
No.
No, fly fishermen didn't use bait like that.
Yeah, they used tide man-made flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this to me too, I couldn't figure out what it is. Is it the strap to the creel?
Where are you pointing?
Where right
Hmm.
under, okay, so you see the head of the fish, and then if you come off of its little nose, it almost looks like a palm frond or something that's been
Yeah.
folded. I can't figure out what that is.
I wondered that too. Thank you.
See, I thought it was the strap to the basket.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, I think you're right. But it looks like a very sunny day.
Yes.
You can see the sun reflecting on their probably still kind of wet skin.
Yep.
How bright everything is. And
Yep.
part of it is the exposure of how this is just the negative. This isn't
Yeah.
actually printed. So this is bitty. It's only about 4 by 5 inches, which would have
Oh.
made for a much larger photograph.
The handle is shiny as well.
Yeah.
The rod.
You're right.
So-
That might even be the shiniest part of it all.
Mhm.
So Steve or somebody else might know this. When they put those fish in that basket, did they leave the basket in the water or?
No, they usually hung them on the side, carried them.
Okay.
Put them in the basket to take them home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these weren't necessarily used as traps, so to speak, in the
No.
water. It was more, okay. I think they're just so darling. Like you always see them on East Coast, like cabin walls and things like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
My dad
All right,
always
well, oh, go ahead. What were you saying, Martha?
a metal live well. It was a metal basket with a lid that had holes in the side.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
And
I've seen that
he'd
too.
fish in there to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And in the
I've
water,
seen those
so-
more for minnows.
Oh, is that
The
what
bait.
that is? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that they put bait in it to
That's
keep them
more
alive.
likely.
Yeah.
I was young. Thank you, Steve.
And fishing is like one of those things where there's so many facets to it, and it just amazes me how much people know about that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's, like DBU actually has a bass fishing team,
oh,
a
really?
nationally ranked bass fishing team. It's unbelievable,
Okay, I think I knew that. Now that you're saying that, do you ever listen to the Ticket on out of Dallas, the sports radio?
Yeah.
One of the guy's sons was on his fishing team from Oklahoma, which
Mhm.
blew my mind that there even was one. And he was talking about how it's really competitive. And I didn't realize DBU had a team. So,
Oh yeah, they have a lot of teams that you don't even think about. They've got a hockey team.
oh, really?
Yeah. You don't even think about that. They don't have
Yeah.
a football team, but they've got all these other sports teams. Just because they haven't gotten into rodeo yet, but I'm sure some of the people
Oh,
are.
that surprises me. Yeah.
Some of the people are. I know because one of my wife's students was a farrier.
Oh, yeah.
And so they've got people there, but they don't have a team yet. But they have all sorts of other teams.
Right.
What is a farrier?
Real wild. Yeah.
Steve, what is a farrier?
That's the one who, I say, shoes horses, takes care of their hoofs,
Yep.
Okay.
Puts shoes on them, takes them
puts the
off.
shoes on them, knows how to shape the hoofs right.
Yeah.
And this was not a guy. This was a young lady.
Huh.
She was not real big, but she was an expert. She had to figure it out.
Cool.
If you do what you love, you never work a
That-
day in your life.
And that's how she paid for college.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, I've got to go.
All right.
I
Steve,
will see
thank
you
you.
guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Peggy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I can let all of y'all go because that was our last fishy fish for the day. And then
I can-
next week, we are back with boats.
Boats. All right.
Get on the water. So, all right, y'all have a good rest of your week. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Get us right. Whoop, she's gone.